Hey there, guys, or should I say GB, since as far as I can see, you're the only one that's on my stream so far. And welcome. I appreciate you stopping in. Welcome to another stream, guys. Tonight I'm going to be doing some more work on the Enterprise Windows, and I've actually decided that I'm going to keep working on the Enterprise on Wednesdays, but I'm going to probably start working on the VWT1 Samba from DeAgostini. My wife saw it the other day and she loves it, and we're looking at possibly starting me starting another one. So if I do, let's see, just reading something off of Discord. Let me type something in here real quick. Todd from Model Phoenix just said that he's going to be late to the stream. Work meeting popped up, but no, I've decided that I'm probably going to start working or getting the Samba VW van, and what I'm going to do is keep working on the Enterprise once a week, and I'm going to bring back doing two separate models, doing a separate model on each of my streams, so there'll be Monday I'll work on the Route Master bus, Wednesday I'll work on the Enterprise, and then Friday there'll still be the Stooges stream. So let me go ahead and flip this over to, and let me tell you guys, it was a pain getting set up today because Logitech updated their software again, and every time, because of the Yeti Nano, every time they update the software, it screws with my whole system. My camera, one of my cameras wasn't working. The microphone wasn't working. I'm used to the microphone not working. All I had to do for that was unplug it and plug it back in, and it worked. The camera started working after that, but I'm not used to having one of my cameras cut out because of it. And it's not even a Logitech camera. It's just a generic one that is costs like $10 off of Amazon. My 622, on the other hand, my good Logitech camera, it's not. To put it simply, the generic cameras are better than the Logitech cameras. So let me switch cameras and we'll start working on Windows. If I can find my mouse cursor. Okay, so right now I'm set up to do 5 panels. That's what I'm expecting to do. Not positive I'm going to do all 5, but we'll see how far I get. First thing I got to do is, actually I've got this one here, which is one of the still one of the ones with the original windows in it. So I'm going to take off the reflector, and let me move these out of the way. I'm going to take the reflector off of the back of this one, and I'm going to leave the reflector off just like I have with the rest of them. I'm just going to put them all in the I'm putting them all into a bin for later on when I'm done with the windows, which will be pretty shortly. I'll be done with the windows, and then I'll be going back and actually digging into the magazines to figure out which windows or which panel will go where, and where the panel will then go on the ship. Basically, I'll be putting the saucer back together finally, and hopefully by mid-July, maybe August, I'll have the saucer completed. I'm back to, as it stands right now, it looks like I'm not getting parts again, which I'm used to that with Eaglemoss. And these are, was looking like it was, actually it was. There's a little bit of super glue holding it. Let me tape this light to this, which it shouldn't matter that much because most of these lights are going to be, most of them are about the same, There's a few like this one, which instead of having the, I think it's, yellow, black, blue, red, that's the normal one. This one has a yellow, green, black, and red, which makes it a different harness. It's a little bit shorter than the others. So now that I've got that off, let's see. Let me get this over here. Eric, how goes it? Welcome. So let me pop these windows out, and these should actually pop out pretty easily. This is a metal panel, so I'm not worried about breaking it. I just need to make sure I don't scratch it. Hopefully the tape will not take any of the paint off. I've had that issue on a couple of them. So Eric, you missed it. I'm going to be starting to get the VW Samba bus from DeAgostini, and so I'm going to start working on Mondays on the Route Master. That's the thing, is doing the exact same thing, doing the Enterprise, which I've been doing for the Windows for about a month. On the road at the moment. Where are you going to, man? But, no, what was I going to say? I don't remember. I was saying something. Oh, it's getting old doing just the Windows. So I decided to switch it up and start another one of the part works, but I'm going to start collecting one and start building one that I've already got. So these look pretty okay. A slight damage to the paint right there shouldn't matter. It's on the back side. Hey, Captain, welcome. So let me put these screws in, because they should not bother the process for putting the resin in. What was the number of the last pack I received? I think, let me move this window and I'll tell you for sure, because I actually am tracking that in an Excel document. Last stage I received was 13, which was stages up to 51, and I received that on the 18th of May. As a matter of fact, I should hopefully get charged for the next issue, for issue 14, in the next 3 or 4 days. So now let me put my windows back together. Yeah, so should be getting that charged that any day now. I should be getting charged for the Ghostbuster car, hopefully. If they came out with a special where I could get, I think it was like 16 issues at one time. When they sent me the second one, when they sent me 13, a week after they sent me 12, I called them up and said, "No, I can't afford you to be sending me 4 issues a month." So hopefully, like I said, they'll continue to send me send them monthly, because I've got currently 1, 2, 3, 4 subscriptions going. Only one of which has been actually going through continuously, and that's the what is it? The Fan Home Route Master. I just realized I'm working without a tightrope. Welcome, Todd. And Captain, I'm nothing. Todd is working on, I think he said 14. I think he's got 14 of these things going at one time. What'd you miss? You missed the announcement that I'm going to not be doing the Enterprise every Wednesday, or every stream. I'm going to start doing the Samba bus from Diag. Other than that, not much. I took some windows out, took the reflector out. Not at one time, but 14 builds so far. I'm going to keep working on the Enterprise D. What I'm going to do is the Enterprise D is going to be on Wednesdays, and I'm going to start on the Route Master, and that's going to be on Mondays, and I'm going to collect the parts for the Samba bus until I've got a fair share of them. What's funny is the one guy who always wants to see Enterprise, he's not even online. Has anybody seen Donnie? I think he's been kidnapped. I know. Donnie is always wanting the Enterprise, but he's never here. And before I do that, as I was pressing this down, I saw a hair sticking through the window, and I'm like, that would suck. Okay, where did that put them? There. My cheaters. That's really cool. That's cool, Todd. I shut them down on the... I'm glad you guys are getting them, because that means I should continue to get them. I shut them down on the once a week thing, or I don't remember if it was once a week or once every other week. I can't afford it because I've actually got 4 of these things going at one time. Okay, it's always remembering how to do this on the first one, because I always forget to squeeze a bubble, the first bubble out. And then once I remember that and get going, it's usually pretty okay. Of course, you can ask Todd. I always forget to do 2 seconds initially on the outside to build the outer skin, but it's only been really screwy one time. That it actually literally had a hole right through the window. So, yeah, I've actually got the same issue going on. I'm only getting shipped the Enterprise D. The Iron Man, I've been waiting for 2 months, and I'm getting the Route Master regularly. It would be. So are you actually getting Iron Man issues? Because I am not. And I took these off, and I still need them. I'm a dork. My Iron Man issues have, like I said, it's been 2 months. There it is. That's insane. What issue are you on Iron Man? I know you're well farther than I am. 39 through 42. Well, and it's funny because I called them the other day, and they said, oh yeah, that's because we were switching warehouses, and it should be good. Should be shipping out anytime in the next few days. And I'm like, that's exactly what you said to me, that, you know, or what I was told a month ago. So I'm going to give them a week, and then I'm going to call them up again, and I'm going to be like, okay, listen, I've been waiting for 6 weeks for an issue. Or actually, by that point, it will be 2 months. I may just say, so do I need to cancel and restart to get you to ship me anything? I like the Iron Man, but I'm really getting tired of waiting all the time on Eaglemoss. And if I do end up canceling it, it's not canceling for, you know, for a little bit. It's canceling everything from them, and not, actually, sorry, Iron Man is fan home. I will, you know, if I end up canceling it, I won't go back to fan home. It'll save me a lot of money. If anybody's chatting right now, I apologize. I'm looking at bubbles. $35 to $38. Built through 34. Got 2 boxes here. Fired 15 New York. Maybe get to the Iron Man. Clean up the mess on the Enterprise D. They shipped you 35 to 38 of the Iron Man. I know fan home equals model space equals D'Agostini. It's kind of funny because they're bringing the not model space, but they're having problems with fan home because the Samba bus is it's advertised on the fan home site, but it is a completely different website, completely different phone number. And I'll look in a second on Iron Man what I'm up to. I think I could actually use the 35 through 38. What's going to be funny is that's going to be the one that I'm on, and what happened is they shipped you mine. Okay, let me turn this around. Now that's funny. The bubbles here, you would think the bubbles on the opposite ends would be the ones that I missed, but I missed the ones that were away from me. Okay. Oh. Yep, I hit the wrong button. I always do that. So let me see. Iron Man. That's funny, because 35 through 38 is exactly the ones that I've been waiting on for them. Waiting for fan home on them since, what was it? I think it was the 17th of April they charged me. So we'll have to hook up and discuss. Then, of course, I'll have to talk to them, and sounds good. I appreciate it. And if you want something for them, let me know. You know, at bare minimum, I'm going to pay your shipping on them. And then I'm going to call up and yell at, I'll call up and yell at Fan Home and say, yeah, I got them somewhere else. Skip them. Send me the next batch. Perfect. I really, really appreciate that, man. That sounds actually very cool. So what I'll do is I will call up Fan Home tomorrow and say, yeah, I need to skip these issues because I got them somewhere else. And maybe they'll stop making me wait for issues they supposedly don't have in stock. Because what's funny is on the website, it doesn't even show the issues. You know how when they do on the website, they'll show pictures of the magazines. I don't even have that. Oh, and it was funny because the sixth shipment that I got from them, they sent me parts for the charger. And I called them up and said, yeah, they don't fit. Okay. I feel if these are... Nope. They're not warm. And double check that they're all cured. They all look good from this side. Okay. See if I can avoid losing paint. Actually, I think they've sent me like 3 of them, and I'm supposed to get another one in the next shipment. I'm just curious if they're going to actually come through with the, since I signed up early, with the Bluetooth speaker, if they're going to forget that. Ah. Well, didn't lose any paint, which is good. Actually, I do not see any problems with this one. I mean, there are some very small, I mean, we're talking small micro bubbles. But it looks perfect. So let me put this in the collection. Just to let you guys see. These are the ones that are done so far. Yeah, I understand what you're saying about the hat. I've got like 2 or 3 of them. What I'd like them to send me another copy of is the shirt. I've got the shirt upstairs somewhere. Let me see. So I could have sworn. Oh, I do have. Okay. That one's metal. Gave that away too. That is true. Of course, the only viewer that I've got that I send anything to ever is Eric. Eric buys models from me all the time. And he's actually starting to get frustrated in the on the Queen Mary, I think. Yep, that's what I was thinking. But yeah, Eric's been working on and I are working on the Queen Mary 2 as a buddy build. And he had some issues with the paint on the outside. And I'm he's going back and forth between stripping the thing completely, or my suggestion was to just sand down what you need to fix it. Eric, did you go to sleep? I know you're here. I think. Let me slide this up a little bit. But no, he's had some the rattle cans that he used, and I used some rattle can on mine as well. But the rattle can paints that he used didn't agree with each other, and he's had some cracking of his paint. And I know exactly how frustrating that can get. So let me see if I can tape these on here and have them not fall off and wander away. Oh, that's what I want. I just saw your comment that you don't wear hats. I have not worn a hat since I retired from the Air Force. I spent 24 years wearing a hat anytime I was outside, except when I was on the flight line. Okay, that can go in there. I should be able to put all these, definitely can put the ones down here. Can put most of these screws back in and not have any issues with them. It's kind of funny that both reflectors come down as far as they do. I'm sure what it is where the bracing, internal bracing comes in through. Because the reflector that comes down here does these three windows. There's no reason for this reflector to come down this far, other than for uniformity across the bottom of the hull, or the inside of the hull. Let's try it this way, because it's not playing nice when I try and do it laying down. So what's going out there in the going on out there in the world? You guys are awfully quiet tonight, and I have the Agora Titanic. Very cool. My wife and I have been discussing the Agora Titanic, and she doesn't think I need another Titanic. I kind of think I do. But I'm not going to argue with her, because when I finish the Route Master, she's like, do you want to get the Bismarck? And I actually did want to get the Bismarck for a while, until they came out with the Titanic. So I'll just hold off on the Titanic. On the Titanic? Don't do too much to it, because, I mean, it was a done deal with that ship pretty quick after it was made. I do have to say, too, it's funny because we did an escape room one time that was Titanic, and I thought it was really, paint, 3D prints. But I thought it was really funny that the lady who ran it, we had some issues with some of the stuff, and she said, "Well, it's 100 years old. That's why if this lock is worn." And I'm like, didn't think about it at the time. I should have. Said to her that, the ship sank on its maiden voyage, so the lock wouldn't have been 100 years old. Because we were if we escaped the room, we were supposedly saving the Titanic from sinking. Okay. Actually, I don't need the cheaters to put the resin in. The fun part is after I do this, after I get done with all the windows, I got to go back and identify which ones I'm going to paint black, paint them, reattach all of the reflectors, and then figure out where they go on the hull. So basically I have truly restarted the Enterprise. And by the way, anybody who is on here or watches the stream later, definitely hunt up Todd's stuff, because he is doing some fantastic things with his models. With the Enterprise, I forget what all you've got going, Todd, but you are doing great things with them. Redoing the entire internals of the Enterprise so that you can do your own lighting. I've thought about it, but I'm not going to put that much into it. I have other plastic models to get to, like and this is why Andrea is not a big fan of me getting the Agora Titanic. My 1/200 Trumpeter Titanic, which has been paused on, it's been a shelf queen for over a year. I haven't touched it in over a year. That is very cool. You can close it up. Do you have the bottom parts to close it up, or just have it so that you can continue on? That's through 78. Donnie, it's about time. I'm about to shut down. Where have you been? Always looking for an Enterprise stream and never on time. Probably got some excuse like, I was working. I am lying actually about that, but this is actually the second of 5 panels I'm doing tonight, Donnie, so you've missed 1.5 panels. You can eat later, Donnie. Or does your computer not work when you eat? Matter of fact, when I was getting set up for this, my wife made me dinner and brought it in here. Put 10 forward in a drill press and see if you can make them went. Wow. I don't have the kind of time you put into this stuff. Well, actually, If I remember right, Todd, you have no wife to stop you from doing all this stuff. I could do more stuff. Ah, cool. Spare part first and no harm. I could do more modeling, but my wife likes to see me sometimes. Not sure why. One last. Got it. There's one right there. Okay. I hit the right button this time, and I didn't blast you guys in the eyes. What's funny is I need to hit this with UV2 because it is saturated with resin, but it's not solidified. Oh. So Donnie, are they keeping you guys in chips and keeping you gainfully employed now? Or are you still working as they get the chips in for the cars? See if I can cure this paper towel. Yeah, actually I feel it. It was warm. 4 days a week. At least you're working, man. Oh, and something I think I told Eric. Yeah, I told Eric today on Discord. It's kind of funny. The wife and I are looking at finances and seeing how quickly we can get out of debt. And if we can swing it, yeah, it could be much worse. If we can swing it, I might be retiring 2 years earlier than I expected. Because she's my money manager, and she says that if we can get all our debt paid off, then we can live off of what I make without my job. It just all that means is my GS retirement would come in when I was 65, which is 3 years later than I would normally get it. Yes, it is. Matter of fact, one of the things we're doing is, since I'm working from home and she can take my car whenever she needs to for an appointment, well, you know, that's the thing. Have you looked at my stash, Todd? I don't need any more models. I have many models, and we can, I'm sure, afford to keep me in one part work at a time. My stash is actually up to 513 models, and I want to say 3 on the way. So I'm covered for models for a couple days. And once the GS retirement would kick in, we would be back where we needed to be. mean, I have a retired friend that manages to do a model here and there. And he does, if he's still listening, he's gonna disagree, but he does really well with what he does. Because he is very much of a perfectionist. Hang on a second, guys. I've got tape right up at the top of the garbage can and getting in the way. Let me see. That one almost, wow. That is very cool. There was one of these windows, as I was looking at it, I'm like, is that a hole? No, it's not a hole. It's just that it was that clear. So those windows are done. And you can see resin ran a little bit there. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to be too bad. I would have spent my 30s getting out of debt too, except for I had kids. It's like, you know, I tell people I did no retirement planning because I didn't. I had kids instead. There's no such thing as retirement planning when you have 4 kids. We actually fell into, well, not really fell into, I got into government service, and the retirement system is good enough that I'm going to be able to actually retire and be comfortable. What's going to be funny is at work, if we do manage to get all our debt sorted, I know how it goes. Well, we had 4, plus we raised our grandson as our own. So we actually raised 5. But you know, I think somehow Kismet kicked in on that, and that's why we actually have a pretty fair retirement coming up. And to be honest, it was really great being in the military when we had the kids, because that let my wife be a stay-at-home mom. Oh yeah, I got the snip as well. I was 25. And we actually got it a little bit later than we expected. Not unhappy that we had our 4th kid, but we were planning on it when we got pregnant with him. Well, see, that's the thing, Todd, for right now, all the panels are just going in here, all the reflectors. I'll be routing the wires once I start putting the ship back together. I have a madness to my method. And I'm going to leave these screws out because they're actually starting to get in the way a little bit. I'll put them in before I put the panel away. But for putting the resin in, working around the screws can be a little bit of a pain. Two panels for tonight, yes. I got these 2 panels here, then I've got 5 more panels over in the box. Those are for next Wednesday. And then the following Wednesday, I won't be putting stuff back together yet because, well, I might put stuff back together, but I've got the panels that I've received since then. I've got another 3 or 4 panels that have never been put together. It's just like one of them that I did last week was one that's never been on the ship. And here I am putting my cheaters on again before I need them. And I definitely need cheaters because I'm old. Do all of these? I plan on doing all of these at once. And I plan on doing these panels as well at one time. While I was working my way through this, you know, with your tutoring, I started doing less at once so that I could make sure that everything went right. Now I'm getting pretty confident in this, and so I'm zipping through and doing the whole panel at one time. You know, I forgot the one thing you told me about last time. Actually, I don't remember if it was you or if it was Spence. I did not keep the resin in warm water to make it thinner. So just out of curiosity, Todd, when you did your windows, how many bottles of the Solarez did you need? Because I'm thinking I might get away with just this one. I know that would have helped with bubbles, but the bubbles aren't bad this time. Let's see, not many to do it. No, not a whole lot left. And then a little more to finish the upper saucer. So you went through just the little, I think I've got one. Or actually, how much is this? Yeah, this is 2 fluid ounces. Okay, that was my initial concern. Still got to put paint on those dark windows. Not many left. No, GB, not very many left. Just and I'm not sure, but I think I am very close to having half the or not having half the having the entire upper saucer. Where do you go? There it is. I'm sitting here looking for this light. Still have plenty after finishing that. That is true. But this will also end up in other models at some point. The Stynylrez, or not Stynylrez, Solarez. Stynylrez is the paint, Solarez is the resin. Missed one right there, tiny one. Still back in there. That one. This time I'm ending up with about 1 large bubble per window, but they're coming out really easily. Cool, that one popped instead of having to be lifted out. Always get a decent bubble when you're pulled the needle out. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna redo the windows on the neck. At least I'm not planning on it. Those ones are for the entire side of the neck, a single piece of plastic. These ones are just hokey because they don't fit in real well. And so when I saw this, I started working on it, and then Todd and I met and we talked some, and he walked me through how to do this, which I really appreciate. So, watch Todd's build. Todd's doing a perfect Enterprise. I am doing 6 foot's good enough. It's the 6 foot rule, Donnie. You know that. Might have to swap out this headlamp that I'm using because it's running low on power. Fortunately, I have 2 of them. And no, Donnie, it won't be an old man break. The headlamp is across the room. Should be the 6-inch rule. That's what Eric does, and he ends up staring at his models for days until he repurposes them because they weren't perfect. It's not good enough for you. Sure it is. It's good enough for me. It's good enough for Enterprise. Yeah. Okay. I'll go see if I can find the other one of these. While that sits there and cools off for a minute. There it is. Looks like it was just charged. Let's see. It's very nice having 2 of these lights. And the comparison between these and the old ones that I have over here is unreal. Give me a second, guys. I'm finding the right USB plug to plug this one in so it's ready for next time. I'm hoping you guys can hear me from across the room. There we go. Because I wasn't shouting, but I think the Yeti Nano picks up pretty well. Exactly, Donnie. And actually, Donnie, that's not because the nano wasn't picking up. That's just because you're old and can't hear. You know, the old joke about squeeze me, baking powder. Exactly. I know that, Donnie. There's some black in that one from where the paint chipped a little bit. It's funny because I can tell how much the Solarez does shrink, and it concerns me sometimes because these windows, for the most part, I'm sure it is a blacked out window, but these windows, if you look, like right here, those are still relatively full. Right next to them, they're not, but they were both completely full. And if you look, most of these were completely full when I started doing the UV from the outside. So it does shrink up quite a bit when compared to these windows. It's just that occasionally I've had it shrink up so much that there's a hole. I'm just looking as I go because like I said, some of these are looking really thin. That one I thought was empty for a minute. So I'm sitting here, and a couple of days ago, REM Shiny Happy People happened to be on. And for a couple of days, it's been an earworm for me. Beautiful. Let's see. There you go. Those are perfect. Now to put the screws back in. These are so much better than the other ones. And to be honest, actually what I think I'm going to do is once I get the panels, the last 5 panels done next week, the following week I'll start putting them back in, running the wiring, getting everything together, because these actually take about, I was going to say they take about the same time. They don't. Each panel takes less time than a single window did to put all those windows in, especially when you bump the window and you lose 42 of the little windows and you find 41 of them. Anybody who's been watching me do the Enterprise for a while knows exactly what I'm talking about. Everybody got a good laugh that night because I spent at least 10 minutes crawling around, talking while I was crawling around the desk going, I'm finding these things. You know, and like I said, I came up with 41 out of the 42 that I knocked everywhere. And I actually found that other one later. Hundreds of sanded windows in the box. I'm actually, the windows as I have popped them out, I think, I might be wrong, but I think I threw them all away because I have no use for them anymore. Although if you send them to Donnie, it's parts of Enterprise. Donnie would love that. Ah, I see. You know, he's not on here. He's driving right now. That's right. The only other person I know of, I can go in there, that is building the Enterprise. Actually, I was going to say you might talk to Shu, but Shu is actually doing the windows the same way. And yeah, you should, because I'm sure somebody would want that jig, because somebody's going to think that sanding those windows down are easier, or is easier, than doing all these, the resin in all the windows. So let me cut this tape. I like this resin a whole lot better than those windows. As a matter of fact, when I popped out some of the ones that I did with the other resin, they looked exactly like the windows that the Eaglemoss provided. I think I just might have knocked one of the, nope, thought I knocked one of the escape hatches loose. That's why he made a jig, Donnie. I'm sure what the jig did was held the windows at a certain, at a certain depth so that you could just sand on the jig itself. It is Vita Rosa. That's the stuff. Although I will use, I've got 30 of these bottles. I will find a use for them. Or no, yeah, you're right. 30, I've got 30 ounces or 30 milliliters. It's 10 of these bottles. Or 10, yeah, 300 milliliters. Yeah, you probably bought the same thing that I did because you saw it on World of Wayne. I saw Wayne was going to use it and I was like, cool. I'll have to try that. And I did. And then somebody convinced me that Solar Res is better. I don't know if my hand's going to hold out the whole window this time, or the whole panel. I might have to restart. Almost didn't get down into there. Grips the flashlight. Ah, I see. You picked it up to compare with what Wayne was doing. You helped me use it. Hey, Too Tall, welcome. Working on the Enterprise tonight, doing more windows. That was almost bad. Almost flipped it over, flipped the resin over onto the towel. And I agree, by the way. Can you see the difference on the light now? The one that I just put away was very, very dim compared to that. Just remember, don't look into the light like I did and blinded myself. Sometimes I talk to the bubbles. I don't know if you guys heard me say, come on. That one was insistent. There we go. That one was right in the, not in the corner, it was on the edge and it didn't want to move. I'm going to go back. Because I got a couple of them that are not playing nice. I'll have to go back to those first three windows after I get the rest of them done. That one lifted out very nicely. I have to get them from the other angle. Matter of fact, you might light the Blackbird, but there's not a whole lot of lights in the Blackbird, Donnie. The only spot you're really going to have much in the way of lighting on the Blackbird is going to be in the cockpit. Cockpit and the formation lights and anti-collision light. But I would probably light the Blackbird. Right now I'm in a situation. Oh yeah. Now the Blackbird didn't have a whole lot of lights. It's just like the 117, I worked with a guy who actually worked on the 117. The only external light on the 117 was a belly light for anti-collision, and they only used that in training. When they went into real world sorties, they didn't put that light on because it increased the radar signature so much. Come on. Cool. Just 2 anti-Ks and no navigation. Yeah. Who would a SR-71 be in formation with? Where other aircraft. Oh, you know what? But you always, I think you said, Donnie, that you always, it was either you or Shu that says that you always build your aircraft flying. Because that's one other light you could put on it is the landing light. But if landing gear are closed, you would never see that light. Interesting. It's almost looking like I do. I got a blob of resin right there. Hold on. A blob. And it's not liquid. It's either a blob of resin or a blob of plastic. Oh, you know what? Dumbass. Let me turn this over. I'm sure that came off of the paper towel that I cured a little bit ago. And so I picked up a piece of cured resin off the paper towel and I dropped it into one of the windows. Oh. I was just reading the chat, guys. Yeah, because the one thing about the SR-71, not only was it fast as hell, it was also a little bit stealthy. Something that an interesting tidbit about the Blackbird, the Nighthawk, the 117, and the F-16. That's not a bubble, that's the tape. Okay. The 117 and the F-16 were both contracted on the same day. 1972, the Air Force signed the contract with General Dynamics and Lockheed Skunk Works to build 2 very separate airplanes, both of which had some stealth technology in them. Okay. Yes, leaked like a sieve. My understanding on the SR-71 was that they would go fly around at Mach 3 or 4 to heat, they'd launch leaking, fly around at Mach 3 or 4 to heat up the skin and seal the fuel tanks, and then hit the tanker immediately. Oh. Hit this one again, and then take the reflector panel off the other one. Yeah, that actually, Todd, that was exactly what I was talking about. It would hit the tanker right after it took off and actually expanded the dog hair. Expanded the panels to where it would seal the fuel tanks. And it's amazing to think that that thing flew out of California, because leaking fuel like that, and it's kind of funny because the base that it was at, Beale Air Force Base, is huge. And that's because they used to have all the land around it, around the airfield, so that nobody could actually see the bird. When they declassified it, and when they canceled the program, they sold all that land to the local farmers, or back to the local farmers. I will say Beale Air Force Base, when I was stationed there, was just not my favorite base ever. I actually retired and went back there, but I was really, really glad to get out of California. Okay, let me hit this one more time. And double check that they're all good and cured. It's kind of funny. I know that they're cured. I'm going through here and doing something that probably I don't need to. But the first time I don't do it, I'm going to peel the tape off, and a blob of resin is going to fall out. That actually makes sense. I also heard rumors, have never seen anything, but I've heard that at one point they tried to arm the 71, and they had a problem because the bullets made it just outside of the barrel of the gun, and then went back into the airplane and shot itself down. Basically disintegrated. So another set of windows done. Very true. And there's audio out there. There's, actual, it's a guy telling a story. And about being a pilot. Oops. Let me put those 2 screws back in. Being a pilot of a 71. Yeah. But was the pilots of the SR-71 were flying around California. I can. Yes, the speed check. I love that. It is so funny. Because people are doing speed check, and the Marine is like, well, versus the Cessna versus the, I think it was a F4, a Marine F4, where he thought, I'm the biggest kid on the block, going the fastest, and he's like, yeah, does a speed check, and it's like, was it an F-18? And the F-18 is like, yeah, my speed across the ground is 700 miles an hour, and they do the speed check on the SR-71, and they're like 3,000 miles an hour, and everybody's like, okay, we're not talking anymore. Or the altitude checks. I've heard them doing altitude checks as well. He's a neat bird. And what's funny is it's no longer flying, but Beale is still open because of the U-2, which doesn't fly very fast, but flies really, really high. And the Global Hawk, which flies really, really high and really, really slow for a really long time. Matter of fact, that was the last bird that I worked on. I deployed with that thing, and yeah, we broke it. Had the only operational camera in the world, and we almost broke it because the nose gear collapsed on landing. It was good times. And it was funny because it was they had a 75-hour inspection, which was every 3 flights. And then every 1,000 hours, I think it was, they did a phased inspection, and it was 1,000 hours being about a month. Beach came up and yeah. I have noticed the reflectors that I have put back on here, on the couple of them, do not fit as well as they did because they don't have the original glass to hold in place. Never noticed that these ones in the front are actually shorter. Well, oh, that was hard on that. Not just lucky. It takes some pretty good skill to get into those programs. And then the U2 has, well, I'm sure the 71 had it as well, the tube food, because they're in spacesuits, which means they have to eat food through a straw that goes in through the side of their helmet, or the spacesuit's helmet. It's not the thumb meat cramp, it's the wrist. Muscles up in here are what are hurting. Come on. Hey, John. Welcome. Glad you could make it. That's okay. Glad to have you. And another device that you can use, which I used to use it on my streams, but it doesn't. If after a while it starts to flake out, it's a program called DroidCam, which lets you use your cell phone camera as a webcam. I mean, I know that YouTube does some of that now on its own, but you can actually have it show up in Discord. I have a old cell phone, the shattered screen, that I used to use. And DroidCam started getting dumb and would not pick it up. Start doing some weird things with the video, and then the cell phone battery got fat, and you never touch the cell phone anymore. New set of mic headphones that will connect to it. That's cool. And that's what I used to have to do. I had a, Spence was on a set of headphones. I have a Plantronics headset that when we were using Discord, because the audio was actually, it was kind of funny because the audio was actually coming through my speakers and then into my microphone to go out to the internet, or it was picking it up. And so I had ended up going to the headphones so that we wouldn't get the repeat on the audio. the Echo. So what you should do is, instead of having have a wired mic, and the iPad is capable of Bluetooth, so you do the Bluetooth headphones. Damn it, I just picked up a hair. Come on. Build anything. I'm going to be working most likely on the QM2, because the Apollo 27 is done, other than a repaint after the after putty. I did not like the seam. That you could do that. You'd get Donnie to watch. Get Donnie on the stream, and then he just stares at your screen. Yeah, and this, after I cure these windows, I'll bring over the Apollo 27 and let you guys see what I'm talking about. Fun little kit. Went together mostly really well. And it's still got tape on it because when I'm going to paint it. So you can see the putty there and the putty there. Those are the only places I've put putty. Down here in the black, it should disappear when I paint it black. And the seams on the rocket pods are virtually non-existent. If I do that, I'm not going to be jerking around. I will fly through it. Ah, that's right. You're doing one vanilla one. Are you still doing the resin windows on the vanilla one, or are you going to do the resin are you doing the regular windows or doing the oh, so it's just standard straight up? That's no fun. Put this in here. Put that on there. Yeah. On Monday when I start the route master, it's really time because I have 7 boxes and it's about the stack of boxes is about 5.5 feet tall. Well, see, and that's the thing too with the wiring. I had no problem with the wiring on the on this one. I put the wires where I think they need to go as I'm putting it together. Maybe you can bribe him, Donnie. Bribe him, Donnie. Maybe you can get it from him after it's done. So I take it Eaglemoss has seen your work before, and that they've seen your work before, and that's why they sent a second one to you. Because I would love to get into a deal like that with any of them, on any model. That is really cool. Well, see, that's the thing. I don't have build sites. Must be nice. There's a little bit more resin in these ones, to where they're not dropping down, and which dropping down to where the, like here, there's the bar is between them, which if it's a window that's supposed to be blacked out, that could be interesting. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, what I'm talking about is, you can see, like this one here, it's clearly concave all the way across, where this one here, you can see the bar between. If it could be interesting getting just black on one side of that window, if that's supposed to be a black window. Very cool. Very cool, Todd. But you were doing that before they called you, and so that is very cool. I know that Wayne has also done some for Agora. And that's the thing, is I think Wayne got in. I think one of them is you have to get in early enough to where they need you. You know, you're doing your videos and they need the information right then. Maybe someday. People's parts will, especially the Christmas tree and the Christmas tree and the flux capacitor. I thought about doing my flux capacitor and Christmas tree, but then I was like, I'm going to turn it on every once in a turn it on every once in a while, so it really doesn't matter that much. So, sorry guys, I was admiring my work. I do not see, let me look again. I think this is, wait. This is close to my best panel ever. I have one micro bubble here on this window and two on this window. Thank you. So let me put some screws into it. Put the screws back in. I know the flux capacitor is the most important part. And the problem with the flux capacitor is it's a single LED. It doesn't flash or anything. It's lit, just there. I do have I think it was Madman or something like that. I have a keychain flux capacitor, and I thought about finding a way to put it in there, but I never did. So mine is very vanilla. But I also, by the time I got done with the DeLorean, I was fed up with it. So let me pull this out of the way. Put these in there. Just because. Move some stuff around. Not drop the Cobra's neck. Exactly. You paid for it. You paid for all the, let's see, painted all the, added chrome strips to the water hoses on the engine, painted the idle controller, painted the pulleys. Paid for your DeLorean, and yeah, exactly. You paid for this stuff on your own. Paying for my own Enterprise D, Eleanor as well, even though they sent you a second Eleanor, or I know they sent you a second D. Did they send you a second Eleanor too? I'm jealous, man. So I'm just looking. There's one. There's another one. Did they send you the entire? So they sent you a second Eleanor. Are you building two of them, or selling it, or what you doing? Ah, that's really cool. All right, so there's 1, 2, nothing there. 3 windows on here. Four. Not sure I'm going to be happy with that. That's the warping cell. 5. 6. So I actually have 7. I have more parts than I thought. Yes, LED strip in the nacelle. I'm not sure if I'm going to be happy with the way it looks. Eight, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, and that's the last of it. I still need to paint my, I have so many. Yes, I have 11 more panels to go. But that's okay, because once I get the ones that the 5 for next week, I'll start rebuilding. And then from there, after I get caught up to these, like I said, these, piece of cake to do them in the during a live stream, other than the black. The black is gonna be a pain to do, and I have these in. I was trying to put them back in some semblance of order, but I just realized they are in no sense of order whatsoever. And I should be getting more, hopefully, panels soon. Upper saucer panels through issue 53 or stage 53. Yes. Let me see. Issue 14, which is the next one I'm going to be getting. So I still have one more issue coming with upper saucer panels. Oh, I'll be honest, Donnie. I plan on, issue 14 is the next one I'm due to get, but I plan on doing the painting the windows during a stream, and the windows aren't going to take as long. I just can't. I'm not going to be able to put the reflectors on right away because I don't want them to. Maybe it won't be a bad thing to actually put them on. I kind of don't want to get the paint on the reflectors though. So just for giggles, not that. I'm just curious because usually it's Tuesday and Thursday night, but you never know when something might show up. Some charges. Yep, nothing. Yes, I am keeping the stock lighting. I am done. I did 5 panels. That's what my plan was, Donnie. And, my wrist is right here. Is shot from squeezing that, from squeezing the bottle. And I'm sorry, Donnie, but I don't know if you were here when one of the times that I mentioned it, but I'm doing I'm doing the London bus starting on Monday. I do have a 0.5 ounce bottle, the little squeeze tube, but it's like forever old and it has leaked. Or are you saying they have a smaller bottle like this? Because if they have a smaller bottle like that, that would be perfect. That's funny. Here's the original Solres cap, still sitting here. I believe it is it is easier than the 2. So it's not quite 2 hours. It's an hour 50, and my wife just texted me. Hang on just a second. And she's like, will you stay down here a little while longer? She's going to come down to do something. Yep. She's like, can you stay down a little bit longer? If you're willing, those bottles and tips are easy to use. Let me see. Yeah, I saw that, and I'll tell you, I like it, but that price is that's expensive. That's double the price of what the 2 ounce bottle was. No. Although, let me see. Bone Dry Plus, Solres UV Clear. Thin, hard formula, half ounce bottle. That one's not bad. There's a half ounce bottle, no tips. I have one tip, but I have more tips than I know what to do with. I bought 300 of them because I use them for other things, for other glues. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm adding to cart the $17 bottle that's a half ounce. Oh, that's what that is. Yeah, I mean, This would be perfect if it was black bottle. Yeah, what I found was the set for the 17 was the bottle with a plastic tip. It's the half ounce, exact same bottle. You know, for $64, I've got the flashlights already. I've got everything else. So, all right, guys. I am going to call it a stream. I'm glad you stopped by. I'm hoping you're enjoying this. Exactly. And I've got the lights. I've got the tips. So the $17 one's probably the best one, best way to go. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you enjoy the stream. Starting next Monday, I'll be working on the Agora Route Master. It's a 1/8 or 1/12 scale. It's going to be huge. And on Friday, we'll be having the live stream with the Stooges, or Stooges Live again. So, thanks for stopping by. Like and subscribe. And we will see you next time. If I can find my mouse.